Ranking the best and the worst young adult and middle grade book tropes. I'll be ranking them with an S tier chart. So we're starting with the most common one, which is the chosen one trope. We see this in Harry Potter, we see this in Keeper of Lost Cities, we see this in Aragon, and the list goes on. This is a very classic trope. I personally like the chosen one trope. Yes, it can be very overdone, but overall, I really do like it, so I'm gonna put it up in A tier. Trope number 2. Secret Heir. This trope is so thrilling and exciting to read. I especially loved it when I read The False Prince, in Peter Nimble and His Fantastic Eyes, and we also see this in the William of Almore series by C.J.R. Isley. This trope is simple. It's just like, oh my gosh, you were the princess this whole time. So we saw this, you see this in Tangled, you see this in all sorts of popular fiction. I also love this one, and yes, it can be overdone, but I do love it. So that goes in A tier for me. Next is a little more to the young adult trope, which is enemies to lovers. Enemies to lovers, this for me is a very touch and go trope. I know a lot of people love it, and I do like it. I just think the whole enemies to lovers can be taken really far, because they can be like really hating each other and then they just fall in love all of a sudden, and I'm like, okay. I need enemies to, okay, I like you, to lovers. For me, a good example of a gradual one and one that I like is Viscount's Proposal by Melanie Dickerson. I also kind Cinder from Luda Chronicles, I feel like, are like this a little bit, because they're kind of have like, they're not really enemies, but they're not like friends either. I don't know what I would call them. They're super sweet. I think I just use an excuse to bring them up because they're like such a great couple. But definitely also another book by Melanie Dickerson is The Piper's Pursuit, and that has a very good, I love how Melanie Dickerson uses enemies to lovers. To me, it makes sense, and I like how the way she does it. To me, it's not just like abrupt, and it's not like, what? It's like, that was like, it's so touching. It's so good. With all of that, I'm gonna put that in B tier because I do like it, but it has to be done well. Moving on, this trope is beloved by all. Found family. This is commonly seen in The Mysterious Benedict Society, The False Prince by Jennifer A. Nelson, and honestly pretty much anywhere you look. You also kind of see this in Keeper of Lost Cities, and you see this in, well, like I said, everywhere. It is a very common trope, but it is a very good trope, and for that reason, it belongs in S tier. The reluctant hero trope. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like I like this better as a side character, not as like the main character most of the time. Sometimes this can be done well, but when I think about this trope, I always think of the Alex Rider book series for some reason, because he was always reluctant throughout literally the entire series. I don't know if I ever finished that series, actually, because there's so many books, guys. There's like 10 or plus. I don't know how many books there are. But Verlander, the main character Gregor, is very much a reluctant hero. He does not want to be there, but he's like, I gotta see my father, so I'm gonna go do it anyway. He's probably my favorite reluctant hero I can think of right now. Except maybe like Katniss is actually probably a really good reluctant hero. She's awesome. Hunger Games is amazing. With all that said, I'm gonna go ahead and place that in C tier because I like it, but like not often enough for me, you know. Next trope, loyal best friend. I love this trope. You see this in the OG Samwise from Lord of the Rings, and you also from Keeper of Lost Cities is kind of this way a little bit. He's a loyal guy. I know he makes mistakes, but I love him. Samwise, love Samwise. He's amazing. I just watched the Lord of the Rings movies recently, and I'm reading through the books right now. Oh, he's so good. Samwise might be my favorite character from the books. I think it's a very popular choice, but I do genuinely like him. Another book series that does this really well is The Ranger's Apprentice, because the relationship between Will and Horace is so solid. Like, I love in the first book how they set up their relationship. I'll talk more about it later. But oh my gosh, it's so good. And with that said, I'm putting that in S tier because I love this trope and I want to see it more often. Morally gray character. Morally gray characters I've seen a lot through popular book talk books. The main one I can think of is, like, for a young adult at least, is Inheritance Games and kind of the Natural series, both by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And then also kind of High Society by Ally Carter somewhat. There's some morally grayness, obviously, because they're stealing, but, like, is it good? There are so many other morally gray characters in The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Oh my gosh, the morals of that book is crazy. It's like, you're learning philosophy. But this is really not my favorite trope in general. I love characters that have redemption arcs, but morally gray and like you're like whole time you don't know if they're a good person, and by the end you really still don't know if they're a good person. I just don't really like those kind of books. So Sorry to say, actually I'm not sorry to say, that goes in D tier. Social hierarchy, popular versus unpopular. This I definitely think of I Tell You I Love You But Then I Have to Kill You by Ali Carter. Mainly because the main character, she's seen as invisible, and then later on she's not as invisible, but I love her. She's so relatable. And I think that is kind of a popular, unpopular, kind of done well to where it's not. I know it is a pretty, okay, I admit, it's a cheesy book series, but I think she still did well with it. I don't know. Another like kind of social hierarchy more so would be A Study of Shattered Spells by Josiah DeGraff. Oh my gosh. That definitely goes into like popular versus unpopular, but even more so than that, it's a very deep book. It goes into even hierarchy within the teachers as well as the students. Ungifted by Gordon Corman also kind of talks about this. A kid, who's ungifted, goes into this gifted academy, and so it kind of shows the difference between like, oh, the smart people and the not smart people, and then the people who think they're all this and all that, and then the invisible people, and so you see that as well in that book by Gordon Corman. This trope is pretty solid overall. This can be very overdone though. I've seen it overdone many a time and it hurts my soul. We're just gonna leave it in C. We'll put it in C tier. Okay, next, competitions and trials, often deadly or high stakes. So main thing that comes to mind for me is obviously The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I also think of The Wonderland Trials by Sarah Ella and the Mr. Limoncello series by Chris Grabenstein. Very common trope, I feel like mainly in young adult. You can see this a little more in middle grade as well, but I feel like young adult, it's like heavy, like competition, like trials everywhere, literally. I like trials to some extent. They're not always my favorite. I'm probably gonna place that in B tier. Next, group quest. I love quest. Quests are so fun. Obviously, you see this in Percy Jackson. You see this in Gregor the Overlander, in The Hobbit, in The High Society by Ali Carter. Love quest. I can't get enough of quest. Probably because I'm writing a quest book right now, so I am a little biased. But I love it. It's amazing, and that belongs in A tier. Mean Kid or The Bully with Depth. So you see this done. I think it's done pretty well. Like in the Mr. Limoncello series, there's this guy who you don't really like, and he actually kind of has like a redemption. It's actually done pretty well for a kid's book. Like, not for a kid's book. It's a kid's book, but it's done really well. Same thing, Writer's Apprentice. This is kind of a spoiler, but so if you haven't read it and you don't want a spoiler, just skip a few seconds. But the relationship between Will and Horace in the first book is not good. It's kind of like a bully kind of situation. But as you go through the book, they learn to respect each other and they actually become best and loyal friends. I love that character development. So good, top tier. So we're gonna put that in C tier. Okay, the next one is very controversial. Love triangle. You see this obviously in Keeper Less Cities, as Kiefer barks, it comes more like a square at some point. Obviously you see this in Hunger Games, and then you kind of see this in Inheritance Games, it's probably more of a square as well. This is very touch and go. You either love or you hate this trope. I actually don't mind this trope, so I'm gonna put it in C tier. Slow burn romance. I love slow burn, it's my favorite. It's going in S tier. Some great examples of this is Jane Austen books, like in general, Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. You also see it in Hearts Overboard by Becky Dean and Dust by Kara Swanson. Hidden World, mainly you see this in middle grade fiction. That would be like Impossible Creatures by Catherine Rendell, Fable Haven by Braden Mall, The Imagination by Matt, I can't pronounce his last name, and Land of Stories by Chris Colfer, I think. I think it's really fun. I love reading this in books. See this in so many books, but for some reason, I never get tired of it. A tier. Next is Prophecy. Obviously, you see this in Percy Jackson throughout the whole series, Gregor the Overlander, and All from Age and Melody by Emma Hill. Prophecies can get kind of weird, but done well, I like them. All the books I just mentioned, I like the way they handle prophecies. I think it's cool. So Prophecy, I'm going to put that in B tier. Whimsical or cozy magic or cozy fantasy. One of my favorite genres ever. S tier all the way. So my favorite examples of this: Wingfeather Saga by Andrew Peterson, Mage Pocket by Millie Florence, Any Story by Anna Christine, and House of the Castle. Love it, 10 out of 10. So the identity versus expectations trope. This is a very good trope. You also see this in Float by Laura Martin, in Shine by Chris and JJ Grabenstein, and you also kind of see this in Way of Kings as well. Because in Way of Kings, Kaladin is obviously very outcast because he is dark-eyed. So you kind of see everyone's like, oh, you're this, and he's like, actually, I'm this. And then in Shine, you kind of see the progression of this girl. Everyone's like, oh, you're just a poor girl or whatever. But she like goes past their expectations, and she learns and she grows, and it's very sweet to see. And honestly, in Float by Laura Martin, the main cast, basically all of them are against society because society doesn't like anyone with superpowers, and that's kind of what you see in her story. It's kind of a touch and go, so I'm gonna put that in B tier. Strong female lead. I know. They're like powerful. They have barely any character growth. There's like nothing. It goes from 0 to 10. They're like, oh, I have these powers. I can pick anyone I want to. That's not how it works. A strong female lead done well. It makes me think of like Lord of the Rings has some pretty cool female characters. Katniss Everdeen is like amazing. I also love Sophie from House of Castle. She's amazing. Love her. I like female leads, but guys, can we make them just like a human? I don't want them to be like all powerful in the beginning. I don't like that. As a girl, I want to see more character development. I want them to learn, I want them to grow, and I love to see that in more fiction. So, and in movies. Please bring back the character growth for everyone, please. Thank you. I'm gonna place that in C tier because I do like female leads, but done right. Okay, villain POV. I do not like villain POV. I'm just gonna straight up tell you, I just don't like it, so that's gonna go in D tier. It's just not my thing. Obviously you see this in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Lunar Chronicles has a book from the villain's point of view, but I love the redemption arc. Redemption arc is amazing. I'm putting that in tier A. I love that arc. You see this in Jane Eyre. Oh my gosh, guys. If you haven't read Jane Eyre, it is such a good book. Highly recommend that book. It's a great classic. It's not like, I don't think it's too hard to read. It is thick, I'm gonna warn you, but it's very good. You also see this in Wistress by Nanny Brandis, and also, of course, in The Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Last but not least, Romantasy. I don't know how to categorize this, so I'm putting this in the gray question mark area. I don't think I've read enough Romantasy to really categorize it, to be honest. I like romance mainly embedded in like other stories. Like there's like a other big plot going on, and I like it more as a minor plot. Not to say I don't like romance books, I really do. I just like there's something else to be going on, otherwise it just feels kind of, I don't know. It's just not my thing. But if you have any recommendations for me to read Romantasy, please put them in the comments. Just be warned, I don't like reading spice. It's just not my thing, and I really don't like to read cuss words. So this is my ultimate tier list. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. And welcome to Kids, Books, and Crannies. I'm currently working on a video I'm very excited about. I vlogged my whole journey writing a short story and submitting it for a publication. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully that'll come out next month. See you guys next time.